For Eric J on Sports, I'm Eric J, and this is what I think. The Los Angeles Chargers have finally found their head coach, and as everybody expected, it ended up being former Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh, who just led the Wolverines to a national championship in college football. This was a choice that the Chargers had to make. And the reason why the Chargers had to make this choice was not for the reasons a lot of people think. A lot of people are going to say, yeah, Jim Harbaugh is a great coach and he's got a team that's got a quarterback in place. They've got an all-star wide receiver. They've got an all-star defensive end, or at least two if they decide to keep Khalil Mack. They've got Derwin James in the secondary. They've got a great special teams. They've got everything that you need. They've got a good left tackle. They've got everything you need to be competitive. But the culture of the franchise was something that had been lacking, and Jim Harbaugh will bring culture to the franchise and he will help them win. Especially in an instance where they're in a division that's going to be difficult because Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes exist in their division, and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson exist in their division. And if the Raiders can get a quarterback right the way they played last season and were willing to run through walls for Antonio Pierce, who was retained as head coach, if they get the quarterback right, the Chargers may be in for a long haul unless they get the right coach and can put things together the way they should, and Justin Herbert can become the quarterback that everybody thought he was going to be. But that's not really the real reason why they needed to make this hire. They needed to make this hire because of little brother syndrome. What do I mean? What I mean is that in certain states, in certain cities, in sports, there are two. There were two basketball teams in New York, the Knicks and the Nets. The Nets moved to New Jersey, but they're still considered New York. They're now Brooklyn, but they're still New York. New York also has two hockey teams. New York also has two baseball teams. And New York also has two football teams. They may not all play in New York, but they're still considered New York. And one team is the dominant one. The Knicks are dominant over the Nets. The Giants are dominant over the Jets. And one team is considered the little brother. The Jets, the Nets, and so forth. Los Angeles is the same way. Los Angeles has two of everything. Los Angeles has two baseball teams. They have the Dodgers and they have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Now, when you think about the Angels are really in Orange County. They were the Anaheim Angels and the California Angels, but they decided to call themselves the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They also have two football teams, the Rams and Chargers, which is what we're talking about. And they have two basketball teams, the Lakers and Clippers. And they have two hockey teams. They have the Mighty Ducks, who also play in the same Anaheim area as the Angels, and they have the Kings. But if you think about the way Los Angeles is configured, it's differently from New York because the city and state of New York has not won very many championships lately. If you look at the last 10 years of sports in Los Angeles, the Kings, the Lakers, the Dodgers, and the Rams have all won championships, while the Chargers, the Angels, the Ducks, and the Clippers have not. So what we're talking about with little brother syndrome is the Clippers play in the same arena as the Lakers. You walk into a Laker game, you see 17 championship banners, a slew of retired numbers, and they even won in the most recent in-season tournament. The Lakers are the gold standard. The Clippers walk in and you see pictures of current Clippers on the wall. And that's all they got. And they have to cover up the Lakers banners so people understand that it's a Clipper game. The Clippers are eventually going to get their own stadium separate from the Lakers, but until they do, you know who the little brother is. The Mighty Ducks don't claim to be a Los Angeles team, but they're so close to the Los Angeles basin that they're going to be compared to the Kings, who are continually going to the playoffs and competing for championships, except for this season, of course, while the Ducks are an unknown commodity. People don't even discuss the Ducks in Los Angeles. The Angels had the best player in baseball and the other best player in baseball on their roster for 6 years. They had Mike Trout and they had Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani's contract expired and the Dodgers were able to outbid the Angels for Ohtani. And so now the Dodgers, who have been to the playoffs 11 straight times and won a championship recently, now have the best player in baseball from the American League, Shohei Ohtani, and the best player in baseball from the National League, Freddie Freeman on the same roster. And this is a team that's winning continually while the Angels are floundering. The Angels had a chance to make hay by keeping Ohtani, signing some of the other big-name free agents that were out there, and putting together a squad that could compete with the Texas Rangers, who were in the World Series recently and just won the most recent championship. The Angels had a chance to compete, and they let their best player leave to go cross town to the Dodgers. And then there's the Chargers. The Chargers play on the same field as the Rams. The Rams won a championship 2 seasons ago. The Chargers host home games, and you'll see more road team jerseys than Chargers jerseys. So they had little brother syndrome. So they needed to make a splash. People come to the games to see the play on the field. And if you've got a great quarterback, and if you've got a great running back like they do in Austin Eckler, and you've got a great defensive end, and you've got a great wide receiver like they do in Keenan Allen, and you've got all the pieces, people will care about your team. But people will also care about your team if you have a good coach, somebody who can make news, somebody who can be a face that puts the team on the map. In football, oftentimes, as games are being announced on television, you'll hear them say things like, Patrick Mahomes brings his Kansas City Chiefs to Baltimore to compete against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game, with the winner going to the Super Bowl in Vegas. You'll hear that. Except for the Raiders, during the time Al Davis was alive, it would be Al Davis and the Raiders, but at least there was Al Davis with the Raiders. Once he passed away, it was John Gruden and the Raiders. It was Derek Carr and the Raiders. It was Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. It was Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders. There was always something for the team to latch onto. And the Chargers have that with Justin Herbert. But people know that Justin Herbert is a talented quarterback, but he's not a winner. But this season, it'll be Jim Harbaugh brings his Los Angeles Chargers into Kansas City to compete against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs. People will want to see the Chargers because Jim Harbaugh took a poor Stanford team and got them to win the Pac-10. He took a San Francisco 49ers team with Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick to the Super Bowl. He took a Michigan team that had won 5 games, and within 4 years they were the national champion. So people want to see Jim Harbaugh work his magic with the Chargers. So the Chargers have found their coach, and hopefully this new coach will help them to cure little brother syndrome, playing on the same field as the Rams, who recently won a championship and who recently went to the playoffs. The Chargers right now are in the same league as the Clippers and the Angels and the Ducks. But if the Chargers want to be in the same league as the Lakers and the Kings and the Dodgers, this was a hire that had to happen. Remember to like and share this video and subscribe to this channel, and visit the Eric J on Sports website, and follow me on Facebook at Eric J on Sports 1 and on Instagram and Twitter at Eric J on Sports. And for Eric J on Sports, I'm Eric J, and this is what I think.